Hi everyone, I just thought I'd give a little chat about the different types of equipment we use and how they work. Sometimes you see them on investigations and people wonder, what do they do? What are they using them for? And I thought I'll just show you a little bit about what they do and what they're used for. You've got the K2 and EMF detector. A K2 and an EMF detector are popular tools for paranormal investigators. You'll see these quite a lot. Both these tools detect electromagnetic fields. Fluctuations in EMF readings often accompany paranormal phenomena. In some instances, you can actually hold intelligent conversations with spirits using an EMF detector. If you ask the spirit to set off the device for yes and move away from it for no, you can then start to ask questions and build up a picture of the spirit you're communicating with. A K2 meter are subject to quite a few possible sources of interference. As you can see, you just place that on and off, and it is vital you rule these out before you can confidently say that you're communicating with spirit. Electric cables and wires in the walls can set them off, and another device that can set off an EMF detector is mobile phones and walkie-talkies. As you can see, if I go too close to the phone, it will start it off. They emit an EMF field and it results in your meters causing an EMF spike when you put it too close to your phone. So what we tend to do is we tend to put it in flight mode so that it doesn't affect the equipment. High levels of EM radiation can cause side effects including paranoia and nausea. If when carrying out your base readings you find an area with high EMF readings, this could explain some of the supposed hauntings and uncomfortable feelings that have led you to being called to investigate in the first place. The next one you get is what's called a MEL meter. The MEL meter combines a high EMF detector with a thermometer, allowing you to carry one device instead of two. The latest ones, they come with a torch. This actually has got a backlight, so you can actually put the backlight on so you can see it, and it just saves you more equipment and space really. The MEL meter is more accurate than the K2 meter and can record minimum and maximum readings on the device. It has an audible alarm setting, and some have a desk stand so you can leave it anywhere unattended and still hear if there's any changes to the EMF readings. A REM pod, I've got a REM pod here, just a basic REM pod. The REM pod stands for Radiating Electromagnetism Pod. The pod, well, most of the pods have a telescopic antenna which radiates its own magnetic field. When the field is broken, the pod lights up on one side. I'll show you that. So let me just do this a minute. If you get too close to it, it will go off. Although this one does need new batteries. Not if it's touched at all. But usually you just go around it and it will set off. But that one is in very much need of new batteries. But that's the theory on it, and that's how they work. And you can get different kinds of these REM pods. You can get bare REM pods, toy REM pods that have been built, and just basic door handle made into REM pods as well. They all work very well. The pod has a telescopic antenna, like I said, which radiates its own magnetic field. When the field is broken, the pod lights up on the one side where the interference is, and there's an audible alarm. The REM pod allows you to see exactly where the spirit is and allows you to track its movement around the pod. It also has a built-in thermometer and detects any temperature changes and alerts you with a light and audible alarm. There are different alarm tones for each different field direction and temperature change, which means you do not need to be in sight of the pod to understand what the environmental changes are happening. Then you come on to like trigger objects, and anything in theory can be a trigger object. However, if you do know the history of somewhere, and you know perhaps there's a child that is there, you could take a doll or a bear or a toy, balls, and you could use them as trigger objects for a child. If like you were in a gambling den, or you could take poker chips, cards. You're in a pub, you could take dominoes, cards. Any trigger object is useful and something the spirit is likely to recognise, and they're more likely to interact with them. I've got a few trigger objects that you could use. Cat balls are pretty good because they literally have to be touched to light up. They're very good, and you can place them all around the place and they work very, very well. Another, like I said, a pack of dominoes. There, and he's also a REM pod, as you can see. So if he's touched or come close to him, he will trigger off, and they're very good for children. I also have a lorry. I actually made this one myself. It is a REM pod, I haven't switched it on. It also has a sensory light, as you know. It will come on if anything goes near it, although it's switched off. And stays on for 30 seconds and goes back off again. Very good with children. But you can use anything as trigger objects, balls on the floor, put them into a circle, see if any of them get moved. And you can try almost anything. A spirit box. I've got different kinds of spirit boxes. A spirit box is a device that sweeps through radio waves very quickly. It spends about approximately 1/10 of a second on each frequency. You may pick up radio stations if you're investigating in a town or a city, or you can pick up the odd word or sound from a radio station broadcast. You will not get a full sentence or even a few words coming through, as you are sweeping the radio waves so quickly. Spirits have been known to manipulate white noise to communicate, and there are many documented cases where spirits have used a spirit box to communicate successfully. If you get a clear word spanning several radio frequencies, then it is likely to be a spirit manipulating the sounds. If you are really lucky, you can get a whole sentence come through, which definitely rules out a radio broadcast. It would have had to have spanned between 10 to 20 different frequencies. If you are investigating underground, then you can be sure that any voices coming through are from spirit manipulation rather than radio waves. Some of the best spirit box evidence has come from underground caves, apparently. And that's spirit boxes. As you can see, you press it on there and you press the button to go through the channels, and it can either go through backwards or forwards, and it scans very, very quickly. And that's that one. You can also get like reverb box ones, or just a basic cheap radio box that you can buy. very good and just as good as anything else. The next one we have is digital voice recorders are a must. A digital recorder can be an essential part of an investigator's kit. A spirit may not have the power to talk to you loud enough for you to be able to hear at the time. However, when you listen back to the digital recorder, you're able to increase the volume and clear up some of the interference, which means you can often capture responses to your questions. The recording is called an EVP, electronic voice phenomena, and I've got a few of these which I use. I always start with where I am, what date it is, so I can just quickly go back to the day I was actually at an investigation, what time, and sometimes if something happens, just basically make a note of the time, say the time, so you can just go back to it and pick it up quickly. And then we got laser grid pens. A laser grid is a relatively cheap item of equipment that is used to monitor and track movement. The laser grid fires out laser dots in a grid pattern. It can be pointed down a corridor or doorway and allows you to monitor and track any movement. If something steps into the beam, the dots will be reflected off that person or spirit and allows you to track movement more easily. And I've got a couple of lasers here. This is the small cheap one. As you can see, if I put it on my hand, you get a load of dots, and if them dots are broken, you tend to find that something stepped in front of the beam, and that's they're quite cheap. That one is, you can get them in different colours, and that is a bigger one, and this one works great for outside. It's much more powerful, and like I said, you can get them in different colours, and it helps if you get a tripod to stand them on. And I think, apart from one little thing, when we was going on about the EMF detectors, one of the oldest ways of speaking to a spirit, if I can ever get it open, and knowing if a spirit's there or not, is a compass. Because if you're using a compass, after I eventually got it open, as you know, most handy tool, if it spins or goes erratic, you tend to find you've got something there. So things don't have to be expensive, they can be quite cheap. Just an ordinary compass, if it spins or goes a bit erratic, you tend to know that you've got something there. And that's pretty handy too. I hope that clears a few things up. My dog's decided to bark now. And I hope you understand a little bit better how things work. Because if you were like me when I first started, I hadn't got a clue which was which. But anyhow, I hope you all have a good day. I hope that's explained a bit. And thank you for your time.